The Aircraft Mechanic. General Study Guide, Maintenance Publications. Airworthiness directives are issued primarily to correct an unsafe condition. 1. A supplemental type certificate may be issued to more than one applicant for the same design change, providing each applicant shows compliance with the applicable airworthiness requirement. 2. An installation of an item manufactured in accordance with the Technical Standard Order System requires no further approval for installation in a particular aircraft. Regarding the above statements, only number 1 is true. What does the acronym SO mean regarding a type certificated aircraft part, material, component and/or process? Technical Standard Order. Primary responsibility for compliance with airworthiness directives lies with the aircraft owner or operator. An aircraft type certificate datasheet contains location of the datum, suitability for use of a specific propeller with a particular engine-airplane combination can be determined by reference to what informational source? Aircraft specifications or aircraft type certificate data sheet. When an airworthy, at the of sale, aircraft is sold, the airworthiness certificate is transferred with the aircraft. The issuance of an airworthiness certificate is governed by 14 CFR Part 21. Specifications pertaining to an aircraft model manufactured under a type certificate of which less than 50 are shown on the FAA Aircraft Registry can be found in the aircraft listing. Where are technical description of certificated propellers found? Propeller type certificate datasheets. What information is generally contained in aircraft specifications or type certificate datasheets? Control surface movements. Placards required on an aircraft are specified in AirFRA CF specifications or type certificate datasheets. Technical information about older aircraft models, of which no more than 50 remain in service, can be found in the aircraft listing. Which of the following are sometimes used as authorization to deviate from an aircraft's original type design? FAA Form 337. Supplemental Type Certificate. Airworthiness Directive. Technical Standard Order. 1, 2, and 3. 1. The Federal Aviation Regulations require approval after compliance with the data of a supplemental type certificate. 2. An installation of an item manufactured in accordance with the Technical Standard Order System requires no further approval for installation in a particular aircraft. Regarding the above statements, only number 1 is true. Which regulation provides information regarding instrument range markings for an airplane certificated in the normal category? 14 CFR Part 23. Which regulation the airworthiness standards for an airplane certificated in the normal category? 14 CFR Part 23. What regulations are covered by 14 CFR Part 1? Definitions and abbreviations. 1. Propellers are not included in the airworthiness directive system. 2. A certificated power plant mechanic may make a minor repair on an aluminum propeller and approve for return to service. Regarding the above statements, only number 2 is true. An aircraft mechanic is privileged to perform major alterations on U.S. certificated aircraft. However, the work must be done in accordance with FAA-approved technical data before the aircraft can be returned to service. Which is not approved data? AC 43.13-2A. What is the maintenance recording responsibility of the person who complies with an airworthiness directive? Make an entry in the maintenance record of that equipment. 1. Manufacturer's data and FAA publications such as airworthiness directives, type certificate datasheets, and advisory circulars are all approved data. 2. FAA publications such as technical standard orders, airworthiness directives, type certificate datasheets, and aircraft specifications and supplemental type certificates are all approved data. Regarding the above statements, only number 2 is true. A technical standard order, SO, is issued by whom? The administrator. The Air Transport Association of America, ATA, specification number 100. Establishes a standard for the presentation of technical data in maintenance manuals. Divides the aircraft into numbered systems and subsystems in order to simplify locating maintenance instructions. Regarding the above statements, both number 1 and number 2 are true. Aviation maintenance alerts, formerly General Aviation Airworthiness Alerts, provide information about aircraft problems and suggested corrective actions. Refer to Figure 62, 62A, and 62B as necessary. Which doublers requires heat treatment before installation? -102. Refer to Figures 62, 62A, and 62B as necessary. How many parts will need to be fabricated by the mechanic in the construction and installation of one doubler? 3. Refer to Figure 62, 62A, and 62B as necessary. Using only the information given, when bend allowance, setback, etc. have been calculated, which doubler is it possible to construct and install? -101. Refer to Figure 62. The -100 in the title block, Area 1, is applicable to which doubler part numbers? -101. Refer to Figure 63. An aircraft has a total time in service of 468 hours. The airworthiness directive given was initially complied with at 454 hours in service. How many additional hours in service may be accumulated before the airworthiness directive must again be complied with? 186. The following words are an example of what kind of statement in an AD? Required within the next 25 hours time in service after the effective date of this AD, unless already accomplished. Compliance. The action required by an AD may take what form? Inspection, parts replacement, design modification, change in operating procedures, overall change in the content, form and disposition of aircraft maintenance records. 1, 2, 3, and/or 4. Type certificate data sheets are issued for which of the following products? Aircraft, engines, and propellers. The following is a table of airspeed limits as given in an FAA-issued aircraft specification. Normal operating speed, 260 knots. Never exceed speed, 293 knots. Maximum landing gear operation speed, 174 knots. Maximum flap extended speed, 139 knots. The high end of the white arc on the airspeed instrument would be at 139 knots. When is a mechanic responsible for checking AD compliance? When performing an inspection required under Part 91, 125, or 135. How long are AD compliance records required to be kept? They shall be retained, and then transferred with the aircraft when it is sold. What does then type certificate data sheet designation code, 2PCSM, mean? K01, 2 place, number of seats, closed, C, monoplane. Which of the following includes all the regulatory definitions of maintenance? Overhaul, repair, parts replacement, inspection, and preservation. What is the maximum penalty for cheating or other unauthorized conduct when taking an FAA mechanic test? Ineligibility to receive any certificate or rating for 1 year, and suspension or revocation of any certificate held. A complete detailed inspection and adjustment of the valve mechanism will be made at the first 25 hours after the engine has been placed in service. Subsequent inspections of the valve mechanism will be made each second 50-hour period. From the above statement, at what intervals will valve mechanism inspections be performed? 100 hours. Check thrust-bearing nuts for tightness on new or newly overhauled engines at the first 50-hour inspection following installation. Subsequent inspections on thrust-bearing nuts will be made at each third 50-hour inspection. From the above statement, at what intervals should you check the thrust-bearing nut for tightness? 150 hours.